Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am the Giga Gamer Dad, and welcome. I am reviewing Adam Fall. Came out here a few days ago. Today is March 29th, 2025. I've had the game for at least 3 days now. Paid for it with my own money, despite the fact that it is on Game Pass, so you can pick it up and play it day one on Game Pass itself. So you don't have to spend the $70 I did. We'll get into that here in shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, let's start off with the trailer. Kick us off.
Product not yet rated.
Emergency at Windscale Atom Plant. It's not emergency, but disaster. Now the worst seems to be over. Wiring target.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, if that didn't get you want to play it, I don't know what else will. The way I feel about this game is kind of mixed. Let's start off with what categories I like to rate things on. We have 10 categories. I'll give a score at the very end where it combines the score for all of them. So for number one, I rate on story and lore. Two is gameplay mechanics. Three is the difficulty. Four is graphics and sound. Five are the controls, the replayability value, the pausability value, because my wife likes the fact I can pause a game, spousal approval, dad enjoyment, and how the community is overall reviewing it. So let's take a look at what I think for the story. The story is unique. It is very different. When I started off in this game, I definitely thought I was going to be playing a Fallout style game, and it is the furthest thing from the truth. It is not post-apocalyptic. It takes place in like a quarantine zone, so it has more similarities to Dying Light than it does Fallout. And the visuals reminded me more of like BioShock as well. So if you kind of like that style game where everything's kind of scarce, you have a weird kind of story to get into, then Adam Falls definitely going to be for you. There is many approaches to finishing this game. Uh, I played it kind of as a detective type of way. You go through into the game, you start looking for clues, you start piecing things together, you get more and more of the lore when you pick up pamphlets, lunch boxes, um, other different lore bits, and they help you along in the story later on as well when you're talking to some of these other characters. It is unique, and I really like it. I thought the story was great, and that plays into the replayability because you have to kind of destroy this entity called Oberon. And without giving too much away, there are many ways of doing it. You can follow the path that leads to one character. He calls you onto a phone and you have to like respond to him. There's like this general that's in charge of the protectorate that's trying to keep the town safe. You have other characters such as scientists. You have three different factions you mess around with. You have the soldiers, you have the rebels, or not the rebels, the more of like the raiders, the bandits type of thing. And then you have these kind of religious nut jobs that are trying to bring everything back to the earth. And it's very, very unique in that aspect. It kind of reminds me of the game Alex. I can't remember how that's pronounced, where you have three different types of factions that you have to like maneuver within. And it definitely gives you the choice for how you want to beat this game. I rolled credits 18 hours after I started. And there's even an achievement for beating and leaving the quarantine zone within 5 hours. I just took my time with it and explored naturally, and everything came in that way. I did play the game on the hardest difficulty, and once you start upgrading weapons and finding better things, the mechanics get a little easier. Uh, the only issue is that ammo is very scarce, and that's part of the reason why I found the game a little challenging. Because once you get towards the end of the game and you start using some of your ammo, you're only picking up maybe 1 or 2 rounds for your pistol at a time, and it makes you want to use your melee weapons the most. Try to save the ammo for when you have a harder difficult situation to get out of, and there's a ton of them. The scarcity plays into the fact that you're also in a quarantine zone where supplies would be running low. Like, it makes sense. The difficulty makes sense in this game. The higher difficulty that I played on, I beat it on its hardest. It was challenging. Sneaking around, I couldn't just sneak around because people saw me a lot quicker. There's definitely a few easier options. Um, the first two, I would bet the developers didn't want you playing as, because it takes away from the fact that there is scarcity. You have to like survive. This is more of like a survival game more than anything. You have to find food to try and regain your health. You have to craft bandages. You hoard first aid kits at a certain point. You have to find these atomic batteries to power up doors, and it's a vault that you have to open up and find out all the scientific things that these guys are doing to cause the issue that the whole town is in. The graphics are beautiful, ladies and gents. There's It's very, very beautiful. I played it on the Series X on a big, nice 75-inch TV, and I could not wait to get back into this world when I was out of it, because it is just so spectacularly done. It is gorgeous, and Rebellion hit all the right notes. It reminded me of being over in the UK whenever I visited, and I fell in love with Windhaven, or well, I think it's Windhaven. I could be wrong, but what town, the whole town, the whole setting, fantastically done. The controls were a little clunky, not because they don't know what they're doing, because Rebellion is very much the guys that do like the Sniper Elite games, which are really, really well done. The controls, however, you wake up in the beginning of the game in a vault, and you don't know how you got there. And you're not supposed to be this badass like BJ Blazkowicz or the Doomslayer. You hold a gun as if you've never held one before. And so aiming with it kind of feels clunky. You're going to miss your shots. Using a bow and arrow, same thing. You're going to have to gauge distance, try and hit that right spot. And it makes you want to use melee combat because the guns feel as if they're unreliable. And it's not that they won't shoot, like, there's no repair system for them. It just feels as if using a firearm is kind of a last resort type of thing, and it feels good that way. It makes you think about how you're going to come into a situation. As far as replayability, like I said before, you have all these different stories you can do. I'm looking into playing the game again at a later date. I'm done. I finished it this first time. Maybe the second time I'll continue on with a different faction and go that route. But as 18 hours in, definitely worth my time. The possibility, ladies and gents, I am a dad, which is probably why this is not as professional as it is because this is not my full-time gig. I like playing a lot of games that does not have a great pause feature. This game might be one of them. And the reason being is because when you're in your menus trying to craft, trying to sort through your weapons, sort through all your gear, the game is still running behind you. So I went into my menu once and didn't realize that I could still be shot at. Got hit in the face with an arrow, died, had to reload. Lost maybe 10 minutes of game time that way. However, if you actually pause the button to the menu, it pauses. So for that alone, the possibility of it is good. My wife didn't really have to try and get me when I was playing it, luckily, because I played it when most of the house was asleep. But as far as those busy parents that want a game and have significant others or children that they have to take care of, this game is able to be paused. You can pause this game. So you can get up, go do what you have to, come back. My wife is a very big fan of the UK. I think this is not one of those games that she didn't want me to like talk about or not talk about. Spousal approval is very unique. If my wife seems interested, usually it means it's a good sign. If she kind of seems bored or not really wanting to talk about my video games, yeah, she didn't have any negative thoughts, luckily. As far as dad enjoyment, let's see, dad enjoyment is the key point of this review. I really, really enjoyed this game. It was a surprise. Uh, I paused Starfield, which is my depression game, the game I play all the time when I have nothing better to play. Adamfall took up my time, and I absolutely loved it. I could not stop thinking about it when I was at work. Came home, could not wait until the kids went to sleep to play it again, and it kept me thinking. Like when I went to bed the other night, I was thinking, okay, I'm at this spot in the game. I need to do this. I have to go find an atomic battery. I have to get back down into that vault and try and unlock more doors. The game is fantastic. If you're looking for something that you have to explore, you have to look at, you have to go in and enjoy nice, beautifully crafted scenes, Adamfall is for you. The community, however, has been a bit mixed. On Xbox itself, it is sitting at like a 2.53 stars out of 5. It did get like 9 out of 10s, 8 out of 10s everywhere else. For me, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. And the reason why is because there are definitely a few things I would have liked to have seen. I would have liked more in-depth crafting system. I would have liked to have been able to add attachments to my weapons. But that's not something that is a deal breaker for me. Uh the AI kind of could have used some work in some areas. They just kind of stood off in the back, especially if they knew I had weapons. I don't know if it was by design or just bad AI, because even on the hardest difficulty setting, I was picking people off from a distance with a bow and arrow, and they were all people that had hand axes and maces or batons, and they could have definitely come at me and beat the shit out of me, and they didn't. And so I got through a few areas pretty quickly that way, even on the hardest difficulty. So the AI kind of, I it wasn't as interactive as I would have hoped for as somebody who tries to challenge themselves playing a video game. So, ladies and gents, I would recommend Adamfall just for the sheer beauty of it. Gameplay wise, if you're looking for something more challenging, maybe you want to try and find something else. If you want a beautiful world to like reside in for a day or two, Adamfall could not be any better. There's a lot to explore, there's a lot of lore to look into. There is definitely things I haven't uncovered. So my next playthrough, I definitely have an idea of what I want to do next whenever I get around to it. Like I said before, this game is on Game Pass, which is what I would honestly recommend playing it on. I spent the $70 for the deluxe edition where it gave me a few extra bits that really didn't impact gameplay too much. But as far as like my equation goes, where it's a dollar per hour that you should get out of a game that you spend money on. If you're going to play this game once, don't buy it. Play it on Game Pass. Give it a try. If you're going to be one of those people like myself that are going to go in and play every single storyline and try and get all those achievements, then it is definitely worth the money. Ladies and gentlemen, that is my review on Adamfall. Look forward to seeing you next time. Have a good night.